I call the regular meeting of the Milliken Board of Trustees for September 27th, 2023 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the town clerk please call roll?
Trustee Beckman.
Here.
Trustee Dean.
Here.
Trustee Lane.
Here.
Trustee Meisner.
Here.
Trustee Wakeman.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Here.
Mayor Austin.
Here. Thank you. Does anyone have any additions or deletions to the agenda tonight? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve agenda is printed.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Dean.
Yes.
Trustee Lane.
Yes.
Trustee Meisner.
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman.
Yes.
Trustee Beckman.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Do we have any citizens' comments tonight?
You-
Would like to address the board?
Ma'am, there's an introduction before citizens' comments.
Oh, I have it after that. Okay. We'll move the introduction to, you can just hold on a moment, ma'am.
Sure.
We're going to have John Davis from Emergency Management address the board.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. And Cheryl, thank you for inviting me to meet this group. Cheryl asked if I would provide a brief oral resume, I think is fair to say, and then to discuss briefly the role of emergency management. So I am John Davis. I work for Front Range Fire Rescue. I've been married for 16 years, and I've got kiddos that are 13 and 8, both boys. I've worked in Johnstown / Front Range Fire for the last 15 years, and I've been in the fire service for a total of 17. Within Johnstown and Front Range, I have held positions as firefighter, lieutenant, captain, and now battalion chief. In 2021, I obtained my associate's degree in fire science technology. And in May, I will have my bachelor's degree in emergency services administration, which is just fancy for emergency management. And after that, I will start to explore my further options for education as I intend to go the next step. The fire service has 2 master's level equivalents called an EFO and CFO. Or masters. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but I am going to advance beyond my bachelor's degree. So I wanted to share with you that an emergency manager is responsible for planning and leading the responses to natural and human-caused disasters and emergencies. I have the privilege of liaising with the whole community, which is each level of government. It's the private sector, it's non-governmental organizations like the Red Cross, and faith-based organizations. And the national preparedness goal it's aimed to build a secure and resilient nation with the capabilities required across the whole community to prevent, protect against, mitigate, respond to, and recover from the threats and hazards that pose the greatest threat to us, to our safety. So it's my job, in collaboration with many of you, to get to go out and make these connections in order to support the national preparedness goal at a local level, which would be the communities of Milliken, Johnstown, and the Front Range Fire Protection District. That's what I've pretty much got. I can, if you guys are interested, I can let you know a couple of the things that I'm trying to work on through the end of this year, and I can provide a couple of items that I want to achieve next year. I'm not sure what we have for time.
No, we'd like to hear.
Okay, so for the rest of this year, I am working with Cheryl and with Matt LaSurf in Johnstown to do a training audit on NIMS ICS records, which is important if we were to have a large event. There's a couple of required items that we must possess in order to be eligible for federal reimbursement from FEMA. Again, if we were to have that event. So that's a pretty high level, and it's a pretty simple catch up if we're behind on any of these. Most of them just take some time behind the computer. It's not a long time. In addition to that, we need to have a adopted emergency operations plan signed by all three of the represented organizations. And so I'm working on that. It's a pretty significant document that'll probably range between 45 and 60 pages. But it is my intent to have that done before the end of the year so that we can collectively have our emergency operations plan. Moving into next year, I would like to assist Cheryl and Matt with creating continuity of government plans, as well as working with department heads, municipal heads, and directors with creating a continuity of operations plan. Those are my two big focuses in 2024. And right now, I've spent my first 2 months really trying to grow my network. This is not a single person job. I am commonly in contact with Weld and Larimer County emergency managers, and I'm working with nearly each municipality that surrounds our districts. If I haven't met them face to face yet, I do have their contact information, and I continue to meet new folks.
Can I ask really quick, if you don't mind, Mayor, if you can explain what the ICS is?
So the NIMS ICS, it's a standard approach to managing incidents. There's a series of, there's a lot, I'll be honest. I can't tell you how many, but there are a lot of ICS courses available. And FEMA, they'll provide aid on a bad day, but they will request our records for our certification. So every single person needs to have what's called ICS 100 and 700 across the board. Anyone who is going to have a responsibility to respond to an incident. And then it escalates from there. If you're a supervisor of some folks, if you're a director, there is a class that I really am interested in learning more about that would be addressed to this group here. It's the ICS 402. It's for elected and appointed officials. And that really lays the foundation for a delegation of authority. That lays a foundation for a declaration, signing a declaration if, again, when 2013 happens for those events. So there's a lot. I can provide you a clearer number. I would just need some time.
No, I just wanted them to understand what that is. So it's incident?
It's all about incident management. And so what it teaches us is our incidents are going to begin and end locally. We have the responsibility to initiate response, but we can grow that. As the incident expands or gets more complex, we grow that by bringing in more people, by activating a local emergency operations center, or working with Weld or Larimer County to open up their emergency operations center. Once they open theirs, they provide staffing because they're going to support us. But we also need to send some folks to that emergency operations center. We will need a group. They're called multi-agency coordination groups, MAC groups, and they are in this room, and they guide policy during an incident. And so they will provide senior level leadership to ensure that we can respond as needed. So it's enacting state-to-state resources and then some. So it expands, but it provides common terminology. So if we have an incident here and we have people from New Mexico coming to aid our response, when we talk, they understand the things that we're saying because we all talk alike. That's what this is intended to do and has done.
So, I mean, unlike 2013, taking some of these courses would help us learn what role we play in any kind of an emergency.
Yes, ma'am.
So that people aren't just running from here to there, not knowing what to do.
So there's a total of 14 what's called NIMS characteristics. And each one of those, it builds on that, but it is defining the roles and responsibilities of all responding people, to include donations management. When people from other communities want to support us and there's an influx of clothing, water, other resources, we're all operating under the same guidance and management structure.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
The declaration of authority, can you tell us who's getting the authority and where it's coming from where?
My easiest example for that is going to the 2013 floods. Milliken, Evans, and Weld County, if I recall this correctly, went in together on what's called an incident management team. So if we work here, if we've been appointed, or if we have a authority position within our organizations, we can just act on behalf of the community to do the things that we're supposed to do. When that incident management team came in 2013, there has to be a delegation of authority for their incident command team to operate with the same privileges that we have. And so it's temporary authority for them so that they can request resources, so that they can do all the things necessary to respond, to stabilize the incident, and then to transition us into a recovery stage.
Thank you.
Yes.
Other questions from the please, Joe?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a number of courses this group should take. Isn't that correct?
So elected officials, appointed officials, there is no minimum requirement. There is no verbiage that says thou shall take these courses. However, that's why I want to explore more. On October 12th, I'm going to get a really good opportunity for this, but I really want to explore the ICS 402 class, which is 2 hours, and it's taught by a certified instructor. I'll be present if this is something that is supported. I'll be present because I want to learn from that too. But we bring in somebody who's certified to teach that course, and they explain the highest level takeaways, the information that you need to make informed decisions, and your roles and responsibilities. I could make a strong case where I would love to see some other courses taken, but there really is, I assure you, there's no verbiage that says thou shalt take. And it's the only group that doesn't have a requirement. But public works, law enforcement, fire service, roads, streets, everybody else has a responsibility to enroll in these classes. I will also let you know, so I shared with you that I've spent my last 15 years in the fire service here. This has been home. I got my start in Evans, and so I still know some of the Evans folks. And when the incident management team came out, and they had what's called a type 3 team that responded, in the event, during that event, FEMA requested for their documentation on who had what ICS courses completed. There's a minimum percentage of people who have to have it, and I can't unfortunately tell you tonight what that is, but it's high. It's close to 90% have to meet this mark.
So the 100, the course, the 100 and the 700 you said are ones that everyone has to take that are in your...
Excluding this group, but all other people that have a responsibility for response.
So that would mean Public Works, streets.
Finance director, fire, law.
Yeah.
For us to understand and to be able to dictate to them what needs to be done, we should really have those under our belt, correct?
That's why I feel like I can make a case. I just want to be very clear per FEMA, there is no minimum requirement for this
elected
group.
officials.
I want to be clear. Everybody else, the bare minimum is 100 and 700. And again, as your authority or your rank structure within an organization, your ability to make decisions and represent an organization, those go up.
And how long do those two courses take?
The 100 and 700, they're self-paced. They're online. If you guys were interested, you could type into your search bar FEMA IS. IS stands for Independent Study. And then it will bring you to what's called the EMI portal. When you click on that, there's technically two search boxes. Don't go to the top one. Go to the one that's a little bit lower. If you simply type in 100 and hit enter, you'll get a number of courses that pop up, but one of them will say 100.c. That's the one. And just if you want to raise your situational awareness, you can kind of peruse that, but it breaks it down by section, and it will tell you roughly how long it takes to complete each section. Aside from, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but aside from a 300 and a 400, which are additional certifications, those ones you have to do in an actual 2-day classroom setting. The rest of these are, some can be 4 or 5 hours long, some can be 2 hours long.
And ours is 402.
402 is going to be in-person and 2 hours long.
It's in person, so we have to do it as a group or something.
Yes. And I commented before, so that's a class that needs support. It needs to come from the municipalities up to the county level to say, we would like for this course to be taught in the following year. So I had mentioned October 12th. I'll be attending what's called the Integrated Preparedness Planning Workshop. And in that class, in that workshop, I get to speak on behalf of the organizations and give them our wish list. They do not have to grant everything, but 402, A is important, and B, I know our county neighbor to the west here, they intend to put on a few courses next year. Weld County, I think, is used to putting on one course, but I think I can talk with the county. The training gentleman there's Ben Atkins. Ben and I have been talking. I might be able to make the case of hosting a local one where Milliken and Johnstown members can attend together.
So the
But
402A and B, you just said.
so I said there's not an A and a B. And you're correct. I said A and B, but I'm trying to remember how I said it. It was saying that A, there's this thing, and B, there's another. So I apologize for that.
It sounded like two separate courses.
I'm sorry, it's one course.
Okay, all right. a good idea. Really good idea.
The 100 course is 2 hours, and the 700 course, I think, is it the 700?
Yes, sir, 700.
Is 4 hours.
So, and so it guides you through this discussion and the concepts and the management. It asks you some questions throughout, just kind of testing your knowledge. At the end, you'll take a test, and you have to have what's called a FEMA SID number. Although I am aware of how to get one, I can find that answer and I can have it to you rather quickly. But you do have to get what's called a FEMA SID number. And so I can follow up with Cheryl by tomorrow morning if she's available and let her know what that process is. But then you will take a test at the end. It doesn't give you your results. You have to pass with, I want to say it's a 75%, it might be 80. And then when you go to your email, if you have an email, it should immediately say congratulations, and you know that you did the things. And then you log into your EMI portal, and you're able to download that document and save it for records management.
Any other questions?
So I thought that RE5J was going to be part of this emergency management. Did I misunderstand that, or
So
if there was a threat at a school,
So
does that involve you?
it does. That's one of the fantastic things about my job. I'm so looking forward to the opportunity to meet with what's called the whole community, and the school system is part of that. Rebecca Volrath, if I'm saying that right, her and I have communicated. We haven't met yet. But Rebecca is RE5J's, in essence, their emergency manager. And so her and I will become partners. We have vested interest in knowing how each other work, what plans we have created, how we can support each other. One of the important things about these plans that get created is you want to test them. And to test them, you have to have what's called an exercise. And so I'll have the opportunity to work with Rebecca, and we can test the plans that are in place for the school district. And then in the county, that's another thing that I can do on the 12th is I can request evaluators from the county. Again, it goes into this wish list. And if it's granted, then we'll coordinate with them. And so we'll have county leadership out there who has all of these things in line, that they've been doing these for a while. And they'll be able to come out and objectively observe the exercise and provide feedback, whether it be positive or needs improvement type things. So I haven't talked with her in person yet, but we are communicating through email.
Thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions?
I got lots of questions, but not right now. Yeah, I'm kind of excited that you're on board.
You know, I'm just right down the road. You're bored someday. I don't know what the rules are, but if you have questions, I'm happy to answer. So, I'm really looking forward to this opportunity. It's going to be a lot of fun. So,
Thank you very much for coming and speaking to us today.
You bet. I appreciate you guys' time.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
Take care of you as well.
Now we'll go to citizens' comments. Citizens' comments is the point in the meeting where the public is invited to address the town board on any items, except agenda items for which there is a public hearing. Public comment on public hearing items will occur during the scheduled public hearing. All comments should be directed to the town board. There's a 3-minute limit per speaker. Please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Anybody that wants to address the town board.
Good evening. I just want to take up a minute. And today I'm here to just say a big thank you to the city and the board and all the workers that helped us out at, I live at 140 Bobcat Drive, Wildcat Acres. And I just want to say, I can't give enough credit to the town or the roads or whatever take care of the stuff that they did. I don't know what department they're under, but
It was both streets and parks.
streets and parks. Those guys came out with their big equipment and they picked up all of the stuff that we had mounted up in the street and behind our house. And they kind of had to make a road on the access road that used to be there years ago, but they came in with their equipment and they just worked and worked and worked. So I just want to say thank you. You know, it's much nicer coming here with a thank you than a plead. But anyway, so my husband and I wanted to thank, because we couldn't have done it without you. We did manage to get everything off our properties, but then it was I don't know if any of you saw it, but it's massive what they did. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Sure.
Alrighty, public comment is closed. We will now move on to, is there any discussion or comments on the minute meetings for September 13th, 2023? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
Move we approve the minutes for meeting of September 13, 2023.
Second?
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Lane,
Yes.
Trustee Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Beckman,
Yes.
Trustee Dean,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Any questions on the paid list of bills?
I just need one.
No questions on the paid list of bills. We will move on to the town administrator's report. Administrator Powell.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'll make this as brief as possible. I attended the tour and the ribbon cutting ceremony at Milliken Elementary School with Mayor Austin and Trustees Meisner, Beckman, and Lane. The renovations of the school I found to be extremely impressive, and the renovations they made create a functional environment for both the students and the teachers. So really happy to see that happen in our community. If any of you have looked, the Cherry Street storm water project is well underway, so lots of culverts, lots of culverts. The Mill and Overlay project will begin on Friday, and that will start with County Road 19, and then move on to Quintine and to a small portion of Inez. So that'll occur starting Friday and go through part of next week. John Rabus, Brian Campbell, and I will be presenting our grant application to DOLA on Monday, October 23rd at 1:30 in the afternoon in Avon. So fingers crossed on that. Also, Don Stonebrink, Brad Simons, and I will be attending the North Front Range Water Quality Planning Association meeting. And this is regarding, I put some information at each of your spots at the table regarding Evans 2023 Wastewater Utility Master Plan. And that is, as I said, tomorrow, September 28th. And I will appear on behalf of the town for that plan, and I will let you know how it turns out. At the last meeting, I mentioned we were pursuing a purchase of 42 units of CBT water for $70,000 per unit. We emailed the representative for that water, and as far as I know, we have not received a response from them yet. But last week, we were contacted by another person who is selling 125 units of CBT, and they're selling them for $63,000 per unit. So I asked if they would be willing to provide us with 46 units out of that, because that's what we calculated we could do for the money that we have for this year's budget and for next year's. And they are willing, we just need to finish up some paperwork with them. So we'll get a little bit more water for a lesser price.
Good God.
So that's it.
Do we have any money anywhere else that we can tap into for a few more units? I mean,
For
I'm just wondering.
$63,000 per unit?
Yeah,
I
that's
wish we
phenomenal.
did. Yeah.
There's no other, check my piggy bank.
But I'm grateful that they at least reached out to us before we went ahead with the other.
I am too. Any questions of Administrator Powell?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for your report.
Welcome.
Next item is the consent agenda. We have two items: consideration and approval of an agreement for the animal control services, consideration and adoption of resolution 23-17 to support the EPA. I'll take a motion on the matter.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Meisner?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Beckman?
Yes.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Lane?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay. Moving on to the action agenda item, we have a public hearing for ordinance number 808, an ordinance to grant a franchise agreement to Comcast of Colorado. Presenting is Matthew Gould, Town Attorney. Since this is a public hearing, the time is 7:02, and I'm opening the public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor Austin. The matter before you is an ordinance that would approve a franchise agreement and grant a franchise to Comcast to provide cable service to the town of Milliken, and also would authorize the use of town right-of-ways to install the infrastructure. This is something we've been working on for quite some time. There was some back and forth to get the franchise agreement settled. We did compare it to the franchise agreements that have been approved in some other nearby towns, Johnstown, Severance, Meade, with Comcast, and we think that it compares favorably. Happy to address any questions. Mr. John Lehman, I hope I pronounced that correctly, from Comcast is here. He and I and Cheryl have been working on the franchise agreement, and I'd like to invite him to share some input if he has something he'd like to say.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time. My name is John Lehman. I'm a Senior Director of Government and Regulatory Affairs for Comcast, and spent, I don't know, maybe the last 6 to 8 months working with the town, and appreciate the relationship on the discussion of this franchise agreement. It's a non-exclusive franchise, meaning you can grant cable franchise to anyone else who approaches the town and would like to enter into that agreement. I think one important part is the 5% gross revenues of the cable product come to the town, and the town is able to use those funds as they see fit, but a lot to take care of the right-of-ways and any other. It can go into the general fund. Comcast is very excited to be here finally. We have wanted to come for a long time, and it hasn't just made financial sense, and now it does, thanks to all the work that you all have done. And then finally, we invest heavily in the community that we're in, along with our employees who live and work in those communities. And we've been a big partner of the Boys and Girls Club of Weld County, and we just gave a $15,000 grant to help technology skills to the Art and Marty Barker Clubhouse here in Milliken. So we're able to start our partnership prior to actually constructing and lighting up the first cable customer. But happy to answer any questions, just very excited to be here finally and to serve your residents and your community.
Okay. I will open it up for questions from the board, starting with Trustee Wakeman.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Trustee Lane?
Now, I should know this, but I just want to verify this is fiber optics.
So it is under federal law. Federal law regulates the cable product. So this is a cable franchise, and under federal law, they've delegated to municipalities the authority to regulate cable, but not internet. It's the same line. It'll be the service to the home will be on fiber, but this franchise agreement specifically governs the cable product.
Which is the TV.
Which is the TV, sorry,
Right,
the video
TV
product.
programming.
But we will be doing all our products.
Okay, so there is an option just to get of just the internet?
Yes.
If you want?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Meester?
Well, Brian just asked my questions, so I don't have any other.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Beckman, any questions?
Is there any idea on how long this would take to implement in the town?
We would like to move as fast as possible. We're doing everything we can, I think, and working with the town on sort of looking at permitting and trying to streamline permitting and anything that we can do. But it will take a couple years, I think, to build out entirely to all new subdivisions and the old subdivisions. But we'll move as fast as we can, and we're happy to come on a regular basis and present the plans and kind of where we are and where we may go next.
That would be great.
Yeah, and also Heather, when we met during what we call the deployment meeting with Comcast, they are willing to install the conduit in any streets we have open. So currently we've got Cherry Street open, and we will be installing conduit there. So it just makes it easier for them and us, so the road and the right-of-way doesn't get torn up again, that they'll already have the conduit there to install.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Very excited.
Trustee Dean, any questions?
Oh, that, I was just going to ask, is it going to be underground or overhead?
I believe mostly, if not all, underground.
Right, that's what they told us.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But if that's different, I'll come back and let you know.
No, I'm just curious what your plan was. I mean, I know that's the best, but it's not always the most convenient.
Typically, we'll only do the overhead lines if there's already overhead lines, so phone lines and other video product lines. Otherwise, we'll go underground with the rest of the utilities.
And then I'm going to get down into the detail. Do you carry the Rockies and the Nuggets?
Well, that is unfortunately much above my pay grade. There are discussions, as you know, between Kroenke and his business and Comcast as far as programming rights and
Sounds like the short answer is no.
Not yet. Right now we do have the Rockies. I believe that's on AT&T Sportsnet.
Yes.
The Nuggets, when they do a national game, will be on there, and with them winning, I think there'll be more national games. But anything can happen in the next few days or weeks or months. So.
I don't have any questions. Everything's been answered that I had.
I'd like to make just two more points before, in case there are any questions in this regard. First of all, regarding the underground versus aerial installation, we do address that in our municipal code in section 16.3.530, where there's a pretty strong preference for, quote, telephone lines, electric lines, cable television lines, and other utility services being placed underground. So our code does address that. The other thing is, one thing that was omitted from this agreement that some other towns have is what's called access programming. And we did discuss this at to some degree. This allows delivery of public educational and government programming. This was omitted because, as I understand it, nowadays towns, and Milliken would be included, typically rely on the internet and web delivery of government-oriented type programming. So we decided we could omit that, but I do want to highlight that point. And that's really all that I have.
Yeah. Perfect. I don't have any questions at this point, so we'll reach out for public comment.
Can I comment?
Staff comment would be fine.
No, I'm really excited that, even though it might be a year or two before it's fully deployed, that this is coming here. So I think our residents will certainly appreciate it, and it gives them another choice in programming. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, there's no further, please.
No,
Mr.
I'm
Cook.
done. Thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming down tonight to talk to us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
The time is 7:11. I'm going to close the public hearing. And if there's no further discussion, I'll take a motion on the matter.
I move to approve ordinance number 808, an ordinance of the town of Milliken, Colorado, granting a non-exclusive franchise to Comcast of Colorado IX LLC to operate and maintain a cable communications system within the boundaries of the town of Milliken.
Second.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Beckman,
Yes.
Trustee Dean,
Yes.
Trustee Lane,
Yes.
Trustee Meisner,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Alrighty. Welcome to Milliken. All right. Next item on the agenda is consideration and adoption of resolution number 2316, a resolution opposing Proposition HH. Presenting is our town administrator, Cheryl Pell.
Yes, Mayor. So we discussed Proposition HH at our work session. As with many propositions or bills that go to be voted on, not the whole story is told or shown. But CML is opposing this, as well as a lot of municipalities. And hopefully the majority of the people will do the same. It could greatly impact our town, meaning that we'll have lost revenues. We already are limited at the 5.5% revenue increase per year when that happens. So this could be more detrimental to us, because the way I understand it is they're basing it off of inflation. And if inflation goes down below the 5.5%, it could greatly impact the services the town will be able to provide its residents and the level of service. So.
All right. Very good. Encapsulates what we discussed at the work session. Do we have any questions from the town board, starting with Trustee Beckman? Trustee Dean?
No.
Trustee Wakeman?
No.
Trustee Lane?
No.
Trustee Meisner?
No, I have no questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
I have none.
And I do not. I think it's pretty clear, so I'll take a motion on the matter.
I move to approve Resolution 23-16.
Second.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Beckman,
Yes.
Trustee Dean,
Yes.
Trustee Lane,
Yes.
Trustee Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is an executive session, so I'm going to have Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich make the motion.
Make a motion with respect to the reference proceedings, possible executive session pursuant to A Section 24-6-4024E of the Colorado Revised Statutes for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategies for negotiations, and instructing negotiators, and B, Section 24-6-4024B of the Colorado Revised Statutes for the purpose of receiving legal advice from the town attorney on specific legal questions.
Let me clarify that this is with respect to case number 2022 CV 030770 filed in Weld County District Court by the town of Milliken.
Thank you. Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Dean,
Yes.
Trustee Lane,
Yes.
Trustee Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Beckman,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, in the meeting will be Town Administrator Cheryl Powell, Water Wastewater Director Don Stonebrink, Town Clerk Carrie Reinbarger, Town Attorney Matthew Gould, Trustee Wakeman, Trustee Lane, Trustee Meisner, Trustee Beckman, Trustee Dean, Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich, and myself. Okay. So we can break for a moment. While